Howdy friends, my name is Savannah and today we're going to read the story of Ferdinand by Monroe Leaf with drawings by Robert Lawson. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit quietly and just smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in the shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be all lonesome by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she just let him sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other, stick each other with their horns. And what they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Oh no. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, of course. That is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Wow, did it hurt! Ferdinand jumped with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight in a cart. What a day it was! The flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderillas with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? It was Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderillos were afraid of him. The picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely lady's hair, and he sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled, and the banderillos were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he's sitting there still, under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end.
Howdy friends, so glad you're here. We're going to be making a bluebonnet today. It's a native flower to Texas, and you might have seen flowers like this in the book.
So for this craft, you're going to need 3 green pipe cleaners, about 4 blue pipe cleaners, at least 5 white cotton balls, and I'm using E6000 glue today. You probably want to use some Elmer's glue or something like that, especially if you're doing it with littles. You're also going to want a long wooden rod or a number 2 pencil, something that you can wrap the pipe cleaners around. So we're going to start by braiding our 3 green pipe cleaners together to make the stem of the flower. So we're going to twist off the top, and then you're going to take these stems and you're going to put them in a simple braid. So once you have your stem mostly braided, then what you're going to do is you're going to secure the end and just kind of fold it over the back here, like so. All right. Now that you have your stem, you can go ahead and set this off to the side. What you're going to do is you're then going to pick up the rod, take one of your blue pipe cleaners, and you're actually going to pick the stem back up. You're going to hold it here, and you take your pipe cleaner and you're going to wrap it around the stem of the flower. And you're just going to make a little loop around each side, like so. Once you've finished wrapping the pipe cleaner, you're going to slide the wooden stem out and push all of the blue pipe cleaner kind of up to the top. Make sure it stays a little spread out, that way your flower has some depth to it. So now your flower should look like this. And we're going to repeat the process about 2 to 3 times with the rest of our blue pipe cleaners. Bluebonnet looks like this. We're going to take our last pipe cleaner and we're going to tie it around.
Then take each end of the blue pipe cleaner and fold it over to create the edges of the flower.
Glue, and I'm going to put a big dab on the top part of the stem up here. Set my glue off to the side, and now I can take each of these little cotton balls and we're just going to place them right on the top of the flower. Now you officially have a bluebonnet.